Now that the 3DS has been shut down, I want to reflect on the games that I have played on the system, and the games that, if you ever get the chance to play, you should. With the ability of a dual screen system, games on the 3DS have used this to their advantage, and it makes for some of the most unique and fun games I have ever played. But out of all the games I've played, which ones are the best, and which ones should be burnt in a fire? At the bottom of my list, I chose the most sold game in the world, Minecraft, because this port to 3DS is not good at all. To start off, the controls are horrendous. The reason why this is because it's the only game on this list to use the second joystick. I haven't seen any games use this on the 3DS, and it's for a good reason, as this joystick is so small that your fingers will slip off. It's overall just not fun to use, and it's really clunky. Apart from that, the limit of entities is incredibly small, reaching down to only 16 to 24 entities depending on which entity it is. The world also constantly lags, you don't really get a constant frame rate, and if you do anything that's a tiny bit taxing, the game is almost unplayable. Before anyone might get mad, I barely play this game. I just didn't really see the point at the time and rarely touched it. I love Animal Crossing New Horizons, so I might have to give this game another try, even with the slow pacing and weird gameplay. I do think this game is great, though I just don't think it's right for me. Alright, again, don't get mad at me, but I didn't find this game much fun. Unlike the Animal Crossing and Kirby game I mentioned, I actually played most of this game. Though, while I did find it fun, it just stayed the same most of the time. I probably really need to play this game again. However, when I originally played this game, I just thought it got stale after a while. As well as at the time, I didn't find these types of games fun. It felt like the game never introduced more mechanics after a few hours. Though, now that I've changed my mind, I think I might be giving it another try. I absolutely love Mario Kart 7, and its unique kart customization and glider mechanic. The glider adds so much to this game, and it just fits right in with the aesthetic. I also think that the battle mode feels so fluid, even though the controls might have felt a bit clunky to me. The reason why I have it this low on my list is because I just generally enjoy the games above this one, even though Mario Kart 7 is such a great game. However, this next one might be a bit of a stretch. Face Raiders is a very interesting game, and I think it's one of the most iconic games from the 3DS. The gameplay consists of you taking a picture of someone's face and then shooting them using an AR mechanic, which slowly destroys the room around you. Even though the visuals aren't exactly amazing, how it interacts with your room and how some enemies hide behind the walls is incredible for its time. Though, I do have to give it a semi-lower ranking because of this arcade-type game, which leaves to replay value but then gets stale after a while. This game can be an incredible time waster, and it's extremely satisfying shooting someone else's face. I haven't played this game in ages, but this was such a fun game. This introduced me to my first Luigi's Mansion title. Even though I never finished this game, I have fond memories of going after ghosts, talking to Egad, fighting bosses, and getting stuck way too many times. I always found each ghost encounter fun enough to keep me interested, as well as learning harder enemy attacks. Some puzzles I felt had some dumb solutions, but overall it was an amazing game, one of my absolute favorites. Super Mario Maker was a really fun game to mess around building things. While I could never connect to the internet with my 3DS for some reason, it was still fun to create unique and interesting levels with the limited tools I had. I loved going through the tutorial with the bird, and using the stylus to accurately build levels, which is why I think Super Mario Maker 2 didn't feel as good as the stylus was not there. Overall, this was a fun game with a lot of things to do. I have fond memories of watching the 100 Life Challenge, the different levels YouTubers would make. Sadly, with the 3DS shut down, you can no longer play any of the online levels, leaving this game to not be as enjoyable as it could be. This game is one of, if not, my favorite Kirby game I've ever played. The abilities all felt fun to use, and the main gimmick of the mech was also extremely fluid, being able to scan abilities and using them with your mech. The story wasn't that amazing, but it still felt interesting enough, with the main enemy helping us at the end. The Super Smash Bros. Ability was also a really nice touch to the game, as it just felt really fun and unique. The transitions from foreground to background is a really nice gimmick, making otherwise boring levels more interesting. The minigames after you beat a level were really fun, even though it took me a while to learn how to do them properly, as well as the different modes, which, if I remember correctly, there was one that let you play as Meta Knight. Overall, while this might not be the best on the list, it has some of my favorite gameplay I've seen in this style of video game. I used to play Tomodachi Life 24/7 because there's so much to do. I almost have no words on how to describe how fantastic this game is. You can create Miis that live in their apartments and interact together, and they each have an AI voice that you can change and make.
My nickname is Sarah. My favorite color is pink.
They also have personalities and personality groups depending on which traits you give your Mii. The first character who you create is your lookalike, who knows that you are him and he is you. People can even propose to each other and have children, or they can have an argument and break up. There's so many activities to do, like a voting system, matchmaking tests, music making. It's essentially a Tamagotchi video game, which is probably what it was inspired by. It's so absolutely mind-blowing how much stuff is packed into this small game, and I love it so much. I have so many memories adding my family and friends into the apartments. I'm pretty sure both my grandparents' Miis actually got married in the game. I just wish we could get games like this again. Weird, wacky, original games that feel fun to play time and time again. Yes, there are some like that today, but most AAA studios are just following the trends. I absolutely love this game to death, but I love another Mii game a bit more. And the game that sits at number 1 on this list, Miitopia. I have at least 500 hours in this game. This game is probably the best example, apart from Tomodachi Life, of why Miis are one of Nintendo's most genius ideas ever made. It's so simple and wacky, and yet it works extremely well. Every single character in this game, you give them a face from one of your Miis, from the sassy child to the great sage. The main enemy in this game wants to steal everyone's faces. Weird, right? But then you find that the Miis you put into the game, whether it be townsfolk or a part of your party, are put onto monsters that you fight. The final boss in this game is almost my favorite boss fight I have ever played. It's the only fight in this game where everybody in your party attacks. You face off against the Darker Lord, which you have 3 different boss fights all packed into one. You split up with 3 people taking the left hand, another 3 on the right hand, and the final 4 on the Darker Lord himself. It's an insanely difficult boss, with one of the final attacks leaving all party members at 1 health. As I said before, it's extremely fun because you can use all your Miis in this one big final battle. The gameplay is also really nice, having different jobs your Miis can do. In your party, you can have a knight, a chef, a thief, and a pop star. Then during battle, you get to choose to do a regular attack or other magic abilities. The healing mechanic is also the best way to use the 3DS's touchscreen, letting you physically sprinkle some healing, magic, or shield power to your Miis. There's a lot more I could talk about, but I'll save it for the next video. Sorry if I talk too long on some parts, but the 3DS is one of my favorite consoles ever made. In any case, I hope you might try out some of these games, whether it be through modding a physical 3DS or emulation. But please go check some of these out. I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.